Let's go live. Why don't we do that? Welcome, everyone, to our Success Mastermind for Monday, the 12th of April, 2021. John Lavenia here with you as expected. You guys does anyone ever wonder, is John going to show up? Does anyone ever wonder that? Yeah? No, you don't wonder that. Okay, well, thank you. So that means I've earned some credibility. Hold on, let me kill the sound on this video. I was hearing myself talk in my other ear. So yeah, maybe that'll be our topic for today. Be somebody that can be depended on, right? That's like part of the show right there. It's a big part of the show. Who do we have? Who we know reliably are showing up here, not on time but early. Julia, Evelyn, Jody. Good to see Edward, Emma, Gail, Ivier, Daisy, Mark, Evelyn, Janet, Ingrid. More people tuning in as we speak. I think I see. Yep, here comes some more peoples. So we just finished our weekend and we're going to start our week. And for some of you on the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, you've already started your week. It's already 5:00 at night. I'm going to have to start asking for reports on how Monday was. It's always fun to ask Australians that. What's tomorrow looking like? Because they're already done with tomorrow. And we're just getting our day started. It's 9:00 in the morning here in Phoenix, Arizona. I'll tell you what, I had a fun weekend, fun and productive, both. And I got to work with some new material for people who are looking to sell online. By the way, for anyone who's involved in the CEO Freedom Accelerator with Shannon, a couple of special announcements. This Friday, I'm doing a live sales training on how to sell for members of that. And tomorrow, special deal, tomorrow, we are having the CEO of a financial education and services company come out and speak with us here for all the members of the John Lavenia Success Mastermind. I am going to be inviting outsiders as well. And if you're an outsider watching this right now, why be an outsider when you could be an insider? Go to jlsuccessmastermind.com and grab yourself a free trial membership. But tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern U.S. time, we're having our special event for, when we read Richest Man in Babylon, some of the laws of gold, well, here's some modern ways to put those laws into use. Again, that's going to be tomorrow. But today, since now is the only reality, we have our general session, which we're on right now. We do have our hospitality suite. We've got e-commerce work group with Evelyn Melendez. Evelyn, I'm going to ask you to say a few words about that. And then tonight, of course, we've got our book study, chapters 2, 3, and 4 of Power of Consistency by Weldon Long. Evelyn Melendez, would you like to let us know what's going on at 3 p.m. Eastern U.S. time?
Exciting stuff, John, as usual. We're going to be actually pulling some reports for your taxes and teaching you how to do that from your Amazon seller account.
Well, there's a thrill. Yeah.
It's boring stuff. It's the one thing that we can't avoid. We have to pay taxes.
Yeah. Is that Ben Franklin? Two things are certain, death and taxes.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, good old Ben.
Just be ready with your Amazon seller account and take some notes. I will be, of course, recording for those friends that cannot join us, but definitely I'll be showing you how to pull your reports that are required by your accountant to be ready to report your taxes. Regardless of how much you sold, you still have to report what you have spent on your Amazon business.
So. Fantastic. Thank you, Evelyn. And on that note, since we kind of started our day with showing up and being prepared, that's kind of like a showing up and being prepared thing. Let me tell you a little story, and then I guess we can kick this around and see how we've been prepared in our lives and how we've shown up and how we've not shown up. I did hear, all right, so going way back, we're going to go back a few decades now. I got this, I had a problem. My life wasn't working, right? And so I showed up in, as many people know, in like a recovery environment, right? Drunks and drug addicts and all this. And we're going to show up and there's a fellowship, you see, and then there's like some steps you can take and like get your life working, and get off of the chemicals. Because if you're, destroying your mind, you really got no shot. And one of the first instructions that I got from people who knew more than I did, admittedly, begrudgingly admitted by me, was keep coming back, keep showing up, come 90 meetings in 90 days, right? Anyone who's been around any sort of like 12-step fellowships and stuff like that, that's kind of a mantra, right? Especially when you're you're fresh out of the gutter, right? You're fresh out of the gutter, go to 90 meetings, 90 days, start swimming in this stuff, full indoctrination, right? Drink the friggin' Kool-Aid. They didn't call it that. They said, show up. So I showed up every day for like 10 years. And it worked. Okay. So I said 90 days. All right, let's do that again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. So showing up, that's interesting. And that kind of worked. I remember when I first came, we're going to go back just a couple of decades now to when I first became successful in business. All right. So that was just, not destroying myself in life. So that's a big, that's huge, right? But now going from employee to successful entrepreneur, I've gone from employee to entrepreneur without the successful part in there. I've done that a few times. And what is the statistic? The average millionaire has failed in business 17 times. I don't know. I haven't kept count. But I remember asking one of the people who knew more than me for some advice. And this time I was quite ready to admit that I don't know. I don't know. You guys are making all this money, and I want to make a lot of money. And I asked a bunch of people for advice. You see, I was instructed to do so. And it was an instruction that I did take because I had become coachable in my life. I realized that my life had improved by not trying to do everything alone because I'm supposed to already know everything and have all the answers. How arrogant. But anyway, so I asked some people, what do you do? And they told me. And one of the guys, I'll never forget it. One of the guys who was making $50,000 a month, he said, just expect it and keep showing up. I said, oh my goodness, just expect it and keep showing up. Now on the surface, that might seem flippant, right? Or dismissive. Yeah, just expect it. Like, what are you asking me for advice for? Go figure it out. No, that's not what he was saying. Listen to the words, just expect it. How many of us who are reading this book right now, Weldon Long, Power of Consistency, how many of us have recaptured or reclaimed some significance on that word expectation? We kind of get what we expect, right? In Weldon Long's case, he's talking about all the parts that are in the box. And if you take the parts out of the box and build the machine, it's the machine of which the parts in the box build, right? It's not, you're not going to build a cake when the parts in the box are to build a motorcycle, right? It's a motorcycle. You can't get a cake out of that. You expect a motorcycle. You don't expect cake. So just expect it and keep showing up. That was all the advice he gave me. Other people gave me a bit more elaborate advice. Some people, were a bit more wordy with it. In fact, I'm going to give you some of that advice, and I already have interwoven here in different sessions we've done. But just expect it and keep showing up. So I did those things. So keep showing up. It just came up again. Look at that. And you know what? Within 90 days, I had hit my first goal, transitioned out of the job, and we're going back a couple of decades now. But yeah, that worked. That worked. Keep showing up. What about, here's another one. Go back just 10 years now. Okay, so 30, 20, 10. See if I can find a terribly auspicious and overt example of some transition that I made 10 years ago. Here's the opposite of it. Remember, I was thinking we're going to talk about how we show up and how we failed to show up. About 10 years ago, 11, 12, in that range, about a decade ago, a little bit more. I had a business partner who was like a brother to me. And I never expected this coming, although it was probably because of my unwillingness to confront situations as they were. The business that I was making between $50,000 and $100,000 a month with was facing some down stats. Right, it was not a good time. Anyway, the partner who I had been working very closely with, we had traveled the world together, families, knew each other, ski trips, like a brother. Decided to change the deal, take all the assets, leave his wife and kids, hook up with somebody from another country and go have a kid in another country. And we got left holding the bag. $2 million bankruptcy. lost houses, cars. What did I stop doing at that time? I stopped showing up. It's almost like you already got the punchline. What could I have done differently? I guess that's the question. What could I have done differently? I could have expected more from myself and been less, let's say, dependent on circumstances and situations and things just staying comfortable, even though I see that they're not, and I don't want to look. I don't want to confront that problem. Oh, we're just going to ride this gravy train. We'll just keep riding it out. Something's going to work out. Law of attraction or something, you know. I'm going to go ahead. Remember, Shannon on Thursday talked about how to solve problems. And one way that people deal with problems is to not deal with them, to neglect or to ignore them. Well, guess what happens, right? It comes to bite you pretty hard. Well, it bit me. So I was practicing problem avoidance rather than confronting and solving a problem. And I was not showing up. I was not showing up in my own life. If I think about what is my purpose, which is something that I've assigned for myself, right? This is a self-determined thing. This is not something where somebody could say to you, Julia, your purpose in life shall be, and now here's my decree. I suppose in communist countries they do that, and somehow that I'm not going to say it works because it clearly doesn't. Cyril, I'm going to go ahead and mute your mic. Okay, great. But no, we do have self-determinism. So the fact that we're showing up here on planet Earth every day and doing this thing, to me, says that there's some purpose behind it. Sadly, a lot of people haven't identified that purpose. What is your unique talent or ability or gift or thing that you could serve humanity with? And it doesn't have to be, you know, the most spectacular thing in terms of no one else on the planet's ever done this before. I mean, look at things like, I was just looking at something today. This is a tangent. Okay? But deal with me on this. I was just looking at trimming devices. As an Italian, I am a major user of hair trimming devices. These are popular items. I've got many hair trimming devices, many. And one of them just wore out. Nice little cordless trimmer. It's got the little attachments. Not that you need attachments so much, right? But all right, so I need to replace this thing. Actually, I don't need to. I got several other different configuration ones, but I want a replacement for this thing because this thing does a certain thing. And so I'm looking on the internet, and there are all these very popular and costly manscaping devices, trimming devices, purporting to be the best for below the belt. Apparently, that's something that we publicize now. That you know, that's there's a lot of talk, a lot of marketing around that. Do with that what you will, and for a price, right? You can get a buzzer that does the buzzy thing that removes hair, allegedly better than the other buzzy thing that for a lower price, which is kind of exactly the same thing. Okay, but this is a whole different approach on something that's already existed. How long has there been electric buzzers, hair trimmer devices? Decades and decades, right? And now this is the one you need. And holy crap, are they doing something different? No. Are they hitting a market differently? Yeah, they are. And I'm not going to mention any brand names. You guys can do your own research on that. But the point is, they've taken a concept called hair removal and they've jazzed it up to the point where they can fetch another $20, $30 for a little motor that goes like this and a blade that goes like that. And that's it. That's it. Okay. So do you have to do something, back to our original point, do you have to do something so unheard of that, you know, and I guess make a spectacle of yourself, just like this company's doing something not different at all, not at all different. Okay. The point is that you've decided what that purpose is. And so you show up as that purpose. So my purpose that I've assigned to myself is to expand prosperity and prosperity consciousness for as many people as I can touch in my time on this planet. I know that by heart. I wrote that in my own mind and in my own heart. That's what I wrote. Was I showing up when Rome was burning and I didn't want to look at Rome burning? That I expected and keep showing up just like I did 10 years prior and just like I did an additional 20 years prior when I was just, you know, getting my life to work to any degree. No, I didn't expect it. I didn't know. I didn't know that I could without the supporting circumstances that got me that far. You see, there's the tendency, especially if we have, let's say, a good job or job security. I use the quotes, right? There's a tendency to ascribe uh, the win to the circumstance, to the vehicle, to the modality. Oh, that's why I'm successful, because I got the good job, or I'm in the good business, or I have a good partner. These are outside phenomena. These are not things that you have direct control of. And there's certain degrees of control and there's certain degrees of responsibility. But as long as we're assigning cause outside of us, we relinquish control and responsibility. In other words, we practice avoidance in terms of how can we more fulfill our purpose via that vehicle or whatever the vehicle is. And I learned this now going back 20 years, right? When I was working that job and miserable, 80 hours a week, only making 10 grand a month, landing in the hospital with a stress-induced health condition. Don't marry the vehicle. Don't marry the vehicle, John. Stop with this whole undue attachment to situations and circumstances. So just expect it and keep showing up. Keep showing up in whose life? Keep showing up in my life. And I didn't show up. I didn't show up. I forgot how powerful I was. I forgot what my purpose was. And that purpose is fulfillable. Yes, that's a doable thing. Never perfectly, right? You never actually arrive with this stuff. If you totally fulfilled your purpose, poof, right? I mean, I guess you'd vanish into smoke or something, but on a gradient, right? Are there other ways, modalities, vehicles? Are there other people fulfilling similar purposes? Are there other people doing good in the world and assisting, like we talked about with Wallace Wattles when we read Science of Getting Rich? Best way to help the poor is to not be one of them, right? Are there other people who are expanding prosperity and prosperity consciousness? That's where I got those words from, right? It wasn't to help the poor. Wattles disabused me of any of that nonsense, right? So did Ralph Emerson in his essay on self-reliance. What do? Go get rich. Go inspire others. Do it. How? However, expect it and keep showing up. And when I stopped expecting it and I stopped showing up, you see that little quip, that little tiny little bit of advice was so profound. I suppose we could use that as an affirmation, right? We just sit here and think, expect it, and keep showing up. And throughout my careers, I'm thinking now about, my goodness, back when I was learning to be a diesel mechanic. I was in Nashville Auto Diesel College, and I remember one of the instructors there, and I had an attendance problem at that time. I would show up late and whatever. And he said, look, I'd rather hire just a good mechanic who showed up every day than an awesome mechanic who I wasn't quite sure what to expect. Because I prided myself on my superior abilities and intellect, right? I'll ace every test. And I could. I was really, really, really good at that. But you got to show up. So what does this mean for us? Back to purpose. What are we showing up to do? Have you written something down, either here or on paper, right? I mean, whatever, it all qualifies, right? Perhaps you could start with paper, then look at the words. Oh, look, I like that word. I'll change that one, right? Okay. So like success, we've been reminded multiple times about success as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. I love that definition. Each word works with that definition, works for me. Okay, the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Worthy to who? Worthy to me. Okay, making progress, realization, making real, ideal. Can we ever completely achieve an ideal? Probably not. I don't know, but we're going to progressively realize it. Okay, so what is your purpose? And do you expect it? Do you expect to more progressively make real that purpose? In other words, do you expect that to manifest, to show up in your life and in the lives of others? Again, you can't do this alone, right? So is that something you expect to see the fruits of? I mean, you're showing up, right? There should be some fruits. And is it worthy? Worthy of who? Great question. Worthy of you. Because as we've talked about, our goals are actually what we're trading our life for. It damn well better be good. What is my purpose? Well, damn well make it a good one. You're trading your life for it. Think about that. I bet my life on this purpose. That sounds like resolve to me. Just to hear those words come out of my mouth. Resolve. Do you think most people demonstrate resolve in their life? More often than not, perhaps on New Year's Eve, in a drunken stupor, I resolve. I'm rough on those New Year's resolutions. You either have resolve, like now, or you have no resolve. I don't know. Do I need a calendar to tell me it's time to have resolve? Okay, great. To quote Emerson, of what use to make heroic vows of amendment if the same old lawbreaker is to keep them? So I expect it, and I keep showing up, again, to a greater degree, or not, right? So I'm either going up the mountain or I'm going down the mountain. And I can tell you where I'm at now, having seen several examples of what it looks like to show up and expect it, and what it looks like to forget, to avoid, to hide. Because we've got both of these characters in us. We've got the on-purpose person who doesn't have inhibition about their performance, their execution, their creation, right? That's an on-purpose thing. I do this thing because it's on purpose for me to do. And then we got the critic. The critic. So here's the performer, here's the critic, and they like to argue. But what will they think? That's not going to be good enough. Oh, what makes you think you could do that? Haven't other people already done that? Those guys over there, they got bigger advantages than you. You've got disadvantages. And my goodness, didn't you fail at that before? Oh, the critic, I got all kinds of affirmations from the critic. Back to Weldon Long, right? Those are things in the box. They're in the box. And every time we dredge up the past and we talk about, I failed and, it was rough and here's my excuses about it, by the way. And so let me go ahead and validate now. Let me polish that off and present it to you so you can validate it too. You can see how hard I've had it. And you could agree with me that, it's not my fault or something. Yeah, we get to slow ourselves down. And didn't Waddle say that will check your progress? Right? All right, be done with it. All right, I get it. You failed. Hey, you failed. All right, never talk about that again. Where are you going? And think on that constantly. Think on that. That's the idea of pray without ceasing. Those things of beauty, those things of good report. Think on these things. I think it's beautiful to be an on-purpose person and to see the fruits of your effort. I think that's gorgeous. And to expect it means I'm going to keep showing up. So you see how those things go hand in hand. I expect it and I keep showing up. If I didn't expect it, I probably wouldn't show up. That time when I faltered, I didn't expect it and I didn't show up. Every time I've had sustained success in my life is because I kept showing up. And why did I show up? Because I expected it to work. I expected it to work. So when we think of opportunities, right? So right here, we got a lot of people engaged in business. Anything can work. Okay. So I know a lot of times in the business opportunity space where I've got a lot of experience, a lot of times people wonder if something, can work. Well, anything can work, even not legitimate things like scams, right? Oh, is it a scam? It might be, but can it still work? Sure. There are people making millions of dollars and it's a total churn and some end up in prison and everything else. I'm sure you've heard stories of the really spectacular cases, right? Ponzi schemes and everything. But did it work? Yeah, it worked. So anything can work. The expectancy of something working, I think, should be pretty granted. Okay, let's say that. Now, there's other, ethical and moral considerations, legal, all that. Okay, those are different considerations, but anything can work, technically. So what is it that you've decided to work on? With full expectancy that it will work. And because you expect it, It keeps showing up, and you've done your due diligence. You know what's good and right and ethical, and you're not running a Ponzi scheme or something. So are you giving yourself wholly to this purpose? Have you identified what that purpose is? And is your task, is your vehicle, is your effort in line with your purpose? Worthy ideal, worthy to who? Worthy to you. So this is a self-determined thing. Here's my purpose that I've determined for myself, and a vehicle, not the vehicle, a vehicle for me to more fully fulfill and to progressively realize my worthy ideal is item A. And should item A explode into smithereens, there's millions of other items. Okay. But I'm going to fully invest my attention, and I only have so much of it. I'm going to fully invest my attention into showing up, which, according to that guy who was teaching me how to be a mechanic, that was the biggest part of it, was showing up. I'm going to fully invest my attention into doing on purpose work and showing up, expecting that there will be reward. I mean, there has to be, right? Those who outflow, inflow. The tide goes out, the tide comes in. Has to, always works. It's the law. You can't break it, always works. Now, it may not be on your clock. You're standing here staring at the second hand, expecting the tide to come in. Well, there's a season for sowing and there's a season for reaping, right? That's the law also, right? It's called the law of gender, right? There's an incubation or gestation period for everything. So if you just started outflowing, that doesn't mean the inflow is instantaneous, right? So when's the season for sowing? Well, now that's something we can decide right now. I sow the seeds. In fact, I would argue that, any competent farmer, they've got a summer crop, a winter crop, right? There's always time for sowing, right? Reaping happens based on law. Now, you don't be stupid and sow seeds, for the winter crop when it's, summer. I mean, I'm not a farmer, but those who know. So what seeds can you sow right now that would be on purpose and where you could show up as the sower of the seeds purposefully and expectantly? And you can tick those things off on your checklist as dones. And then you get to go to bed and sleep well at night because, unless you're a VA, because because you feel good, because you did good. And that's the upward spiral. I expect it. I keep showing up. Oh, look, I have integrity. Holy crap. I have integrity. I feel good. And I go to sleep and I get up in the morning and I do it again. I spring out of bed. I'm like, what can I accomplish today? How can I more fulfill my purpose to my fellow man, to myself, to my family, to the causes that I believe in? How can I more fully execute as the guy who's showing up, as Gail, as Evelyn, as Jody? Great question. But I'll tell you what, all these things that I mentioned, whether I had spectacular results or mediocre results or whatever, all of them I did imperfectly. I showed up and I did it imperfectly, but I was consistent. Hence the title of our book that we're studying right now, Power of Consistency. Just keep showing up. Something's going to happen. What's that old saying, Gail? Even a blind squirrel can eventually find a nut. Okay, I'll just keep showing up then. Have a little bit of faith. I've been talking 28 minutes. I'm going to stop now. I'd love to hear how we're showing up in life or not, right? I just showed you a pretty two examples of having shown up, and that's good, and of what happens when I stopped. Any thoughts on this? Let's go ahead and share the time. We've got Linda Landry up first. Hey, Linda Landry. Good to see you.
Hi, John. Thank you for the reminders. I mean, I've been on vacation for the last 5 or 6 days and feeling very disconnected from everything. So yeah, not showing up every day, I feel guilty, the guilt. So yeah, I'm going to get back and get consistent today and start making progress again. So thank you.
Thank you, Linda. I too sometimes have a feeling of I should be working. Is that what you're talking about with guilt?
Yes, the guilt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But
wow.
Power of consistency.
Yeah, if that's an indicator, then I guess it's a good one, because it means that, you're constantly remembering, your purpose and things you can and should be doing. But there's also time for recreation and recharging the batteries and stuff like that. And I would here's the thing that has helped me with that. I don't know if this will help you, but but part of me being more potent in my work is having my batteries recharged. So okay, so maybe that's I don't know, does that sound like a justification of some wrongdoing, or does that sound like, good logic, and that Linda has a life too, and that, she's not a superhero? Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Well, do with that what you will. Glad you're here, my friend. Let's go to Mark over in NorCal. Hey, Mark.
Hey, John. Great to be here this morning. I'd say my life is, I'm showing up. I'm getting back on the bike, so to speak, and I actually did get back on the bike this weekend. After a March that was rather interesting, once I kind of recovered from some of the ailment stuff that I was dealing with the foot and all that. And yeah, this past week, I was feeling pretty good. So I really didn't do a whole lot physically because I had planned for a pretty substantial mountain bike ride that I'd done about 6 weeks ago that I had signed up for. And it's up in the Crescent City area, about an hour and a half or so. I was up in Huchi in that area. It's a really nice, some really nice riding on the foothills of the Siskiyous. So I was a little bit, I had a little bit of trepidation because, you haven't been out for a while and you're just thinking, okay, how's this going to feel? I did about 15 people show up. I didn't know any of them, and just kind of met some people. And we went on about a 10-mile ride. It was, all the way up on one side and then back down on the other. And the single track on the other side, for those who understand mountain biking, single track are kind of smaller trails where you really just have one or two bikes and get down instead of these big wide railroad roads or fire break roads. And it's a lot of switchbacks and it's really fun. So, and what I found was, man, I was really happy at the end of that. Yeah, and I guess the moment that I had was all the way up. I had that man in the side of my head going, "Oh man, I'm tired. Man, I am just my legs are burning, my feet hurt. Hey, you need to stop." And I mean, I stopped. We all stopped a bunch of times and just relaxed. But it was that just sticking to it and staying with it. And like you say, showing up and being there the whole way up. And then we took a nice break, and I don't know if everybody can see this, but that was me at the top of the hill. So we all take pictures to show people that, yeah, we did it. So there's proof in the pudding, so to speak. And then we did the big ride down through the single track, and it was just absolutely amazing. And I just felt like, yeah, I'm back. I really felt like I got through that. And yesterday I was kind of, because this was Saturday, and yesterday I felt a little drained, but I felt kind of purified, if you know what I mean. Just after all that, you kind of burn all that, all that agitation, all that other stuff, all that funkiness out. And I got on the other side and said, wow, I felt sort of, there was some clarity, felt comfortable, felt like, okay, I really needed that. Going up there were a lot of times I could have said, no, I'm done with this. I could have quit, and I didn't. I'm showing up, staying consistent, being there, and then getting the payoff, doing the big single track down the hill and having all the switchbacks and all the rides and the ups and downs, and just like the roller coaster, a lot of fun. Only crashed once, and it wasn't really anything of any significance. Just hit a slick spot. It wasn't any big deal. Got back up on the bike. We went down the rest of the way. And just we're at the other end of the trail, we're all, punching and high-fiving and just, gagging and laughing about all the stuff that we just experienced. It was just, I found a new group of people to hang out with, and we're going to do this. This is something they've been doing, I guess, for quite some time, for about a couple of years. And I just got on this group, and this is my first time. And there were several people like me. It was their first time. So I think I'm going to be doing this monthly with them. This was a lot of fun. And it was something that I really needed, both here, and here and in up here. So it was, what a great time. I was really, this whole thing, and then you have this particular subject, again, almost like it was meant to be, like it was fate and the universe is looking down upon us.
Thank you, Mark. Yeah, as you know, I have no idea what we're going to talk about until I see you. I see Mark, and I'm like, all right, that's our topic for today. Hey, since we're sharing pictures from the weekend, congratulations on that bike ride. When you said I'm back on the bike, I thought you were speaking metaphorically. You were being quite literal. I'll show you something I did yesterday. Let's see here. Oh, what's that? Is that a Toozle puzzle? Oh, crikey. I got to get that picture over to somebody. So this is in Tortilla Flat. This is east of Phoenix, out towards in the Superstition Mountains. This is a little cafe they got out here there, the Superstition Saloon or whatever. The whole wall, all the walls are covered with dollar bills. And there's my sweetie, and we're gonna have a little food. And there's a cougar. I don't know how old, probably 20 years old, and cowboy hat and ice cream down at the ice cream mercantile and the little museum they got set up. And there's part of Canyon Lake, and she's collecting shells. So there was my weekend yesterday anyway. So there you go. Everybody come out to Phoenix. We'll have to take a little ride. Big biker spot. A lot of bikers go out there, bicyclists as well as mostly Harleys, but yeah. All right. Good times. Who's next? Anybody else? Come on down. Julia, I got to get you those pictures. Yeah. Hopefully it was the ambiance, the aesthetics was pleasing to you. Anybody else want to talk today? We're only 36 minutes in. Mark, you got the floor.
Yeah, John, I'll just one more. This is actually, in case anybody can see it, just so you know, yeah, that is my bike. So yes, I did do this.
Nice. Good times. All right. Anybody else? Come on down. Are we done? Okay. So, oh wait, here we go. Here comes Julia. Hi, Julia.
Hey, I'm just on the accountability trail. I worked on my ebook yesterday and got almost done with the text. So, or not yesterday, day before. And then yesterday I celebrated by working on a quilt that I've promised my grandson. So I had a busy weekend and I feel like I'm showing up. So just shared that. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Julia. And by the way, let me just say this. Toozle puzzles, the pieces seem really quality. I'm not like a puzzle critic or anything, but I've done a bunch of puzzles and I've had the crappy, and the bendy and the artwork is peeling off of the backing, right? No, the Toozle, it seems like awesome. Like, wow, really good quality. So yeah, there's that.
Thank you. That was the goal all along.
Yeah, really good stuff. All right. Anybody else? Come on down. Quick reminder, we do have our e-commerce work group today at 3 p.m. Eastern. We do have our book club at 9 p.m. Eastern. Hospitality suite's always open. Anybody else? Just unmute your mic. Come on out. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. And we are... Mandy, last possible friggin' millisecond. Here comes my friend, Mandy. Hi, Mandy. How are you?
Hi. Can you hear? Oh, hold on. I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear you good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason it was the last what's it moment is because I'm trying to log on the laptop here instead of being on my phone because I just had to put petrol in the car. So I wanted to talk to you on the laptop, but it's fine. I'm on the phone. I have been on purpose today, I think. No, I have. I know I have been ticking off lots of dones. One of the things that I've been looking at that I want to do that might help some people in the group. I won't necessarily say what it is now because I'm working on it. But I've been looking it up, reviewing and researching it, finding out the information. So hopefully something might come up in the e-commerce group tonight. We'll see what happens. But that's one of the things I want to do. I really did resonate with everything you were saying about show up, expect it, And I suppose I have been in that frame of mind today. But there was one question I have to ask you that I'm sure everybody else wants to know, and that is what happened with your so-called friend was not something you could have done anything about. So that could never be you not showing up, could it? And also, how do you just walk away from that? Because you and Shannon did it brilliantly, but how do you walk away from that without the hatred's a big word, but how you feel towards that friend who basically stopped being loyal? I mean, what he did was horrendous. You don't
Okay,
have to answer if you want to.
sure. And by the way, your microphone's a little bit muffled, so I know you're on new equipment today, but we'll have to take a look at that equipment.
Yeah,
So
it's
the
fine.
first
Yeah.
part of the question was what did I do about my social circle?
Right, I'm off my headset. Can you hear me better now?
Way better.
Yeah, right. So say that again. What was the first part of the question?
So the second part was how did I deal with the betrayal? Okay,
Yes.
but the first part was what?
Well, that was really it. How did you deal with the betrayal? I said that how could that be? You were saying that as an example of when you didn't show up, but you did show up. It's just that person didn't. That was something that was outside of you. You had nothing you could do with that. There was nothing you could do. That was something in life, wasn't it? That we just have to accept and just move on.
Right.
Because things are going to happen.
Yes. All right. So how am I saying something as critical about myself as I didn't show up when in your view it wasn't my fault? Okay. So if I'm hearing that right, here's the answer is that I had other, you know, the saying one door closes, another opens, right? I wasn't willing to look at the door that was closing because there was a great door that had opened in my life. And I got to, for years and years and years, I got to participate in something that was working well. And when that door was closing, I was not willing to show up and look and accept that change is happening in my life. Look, everyone here, how many of us knew each other 2 years ago? Some of us in the group have known me for 20 years. Okay, but the vast majority of us, we've come together because of what? Because of a change that occurred, a door closing in life, a door opening. Okay, so I wasn't willing to look, therefore I wasn't showing up. The whole idea of solving problems by confronting and attacking the problem, which Shannon talked about on Thursday, is so necessary. And when I've not done that, when I've avoided, neglected, ignored, right, whatever, then I get to be trampled by that problem. So that's how. No, I was not cause for this person doing what they chose to do with their life, but I was cause for this person not confronting it and not seeing how can I fulfill my purpose and show up as this guy, John, who decided this is what my purpose is. How can I continue to do that even though this vehicle is gone off the rails or is about to go off the rails? I wasn't willing to deal with that. I didn't show up. And because of that, here's the interesting thing. The ramifications of being married to or attached to some outside thing that is somehow more powerful than me at fulfilling this purpose or a necessary thing. I've got to have this thing, otherwise I can't do what I want to do. Wow. So now the loss of that, so onto your second part of the question, the loss of that was tremendous. You think about, we have allies in life, right? We have, it could be a relative, a parent, a friend, right? Let's say a death in the family, right? Death of a good friend, right? A loss of an ally. This is emotionally traumatic for people. And that's the sort of trauma that I went through emotionally as a result of this betrayal. Took some time to recover from that. So I think that was made more potent because of the longer term avoidance of it. In other words, I let the problem fester and then I got a bigger problem. Again, my irresponsibility, mine. Okay. So that's, and I think, Mandy, that's an interesting question. We can always ask ourselves, what part of this can I be responsible for? Here's the situation I didn't cause. I'm not at fault. Right, not my thing. But what part of this, because I'm apparently observing it, so therefore I'm in it to whatever degree, what part of this can I be responsible for? Oh, well, I can go take this tool from the toolbox, right? Failure. I failed to do that. I didn't show up. And I got a bigger problem. Crash and burn, Armageddon. So, but guess what? Here we are. We made it. So there's even hope for me, Mandy.
Yeah, so you could see something was coming, but you didn't deal with it. But like Stephen
Right.
Covey says, when you're supposed to go out there and deal with it as well, in whichever way you need to. And we all run away from doing that sort of thing. And like Shannon said, yeah, we didn't confront it full on. But the emotional side of it, you still did go through. It's just that then you split that off from the business. And so then you, yeah, that was the bit I was also looking at. Okay.
Right.
But yeah, that's really good. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, one of the principles, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, 13th principle, the sixth sense, the intuition, the hunches, right? If it's my purpose to expand prosperity and prosperity consciousness for as many people as I can touch in my time on this planet, it would be by inducing the adoption and usage of principles that will help them think and grow rich, right? And so to deny that of myself, to know, here's the writing on the wall, I don't want to look, I don't want to look, right? To know, to have that gut feeling, the intuition, all the indicators pointing at it's time to cut and run, right? To something else that is more purposeful. That is a direct denial of the teaching. In other words, I was going against my purpose. And the more I neglect or choose to not use or abandon my own faculties, like intuition, like imagination, right? Things like that, things that we know are causative, that I can now move myself into purposeful action. The more I do that, the more I basically hurt myself, because we've got all this power. Mandy, you're a powerful being, okay? And we can send it on an up vector or a down vector, right? But it's power. It's going in one direction or the other. And my goodness, nothing rests. So that whole idea of practicing avoidance is so just devastating. Wow. And I don't mean to give everybody make anybody scared or anything about this, but look, if you know, and you got to start to trust yourself a bit. And this is something I'm saying to myself, John, you got to trust yourself a bit, because I've never considered myself really intuitive. Shannon, oh yeah, she's really intuitive, right? She could say, that person right there, something's going on with them, and she's right almost always. Okay, so maybe I've been naive at times in my life. I'd like to say, I'd say a better way of saying it would be non-judgmental. That sounds more resourceful, right? Oh, how good are you, John? You're non-judgmental. So do with that what you will. But I think we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. And I have not celebrated and utilized my intuition as much as I can and should throughout my life. So there you go. Now, in case you guys were wondering if I was perfect, now you know I am not. So thank you, Andy. Mark's got his hand up again.
Hey, John, and just real quick, I know people have been waiting with bated breath for this for quite a while. I am just about done with a PowerPoint presentation for the survey. I want to run it by my fellow colleagues that really did the lion's share of the work to put it together. And we'll bring it out, I don't know, within the next week or so. I've just got a couple of slides that I'm kind of putting on the end for this, and then we can show it. I want them to give a thumbs up or any adjustments that they'd like, and then we'll get it out to the group, just so you know.
Okay. Well, now we know. I didn't know you were doing a whole presentation to the board members. That's spectacular. I can't wait to see it. I have no idea what's in it. So this is, of course, for us to all get together.
Yes, sir.
Wants to.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's prepare to grab plane tickets and get together. Thank you, Mark, and thank you, Mandy. I know you were instrumental in making that happen. All right, are we done now? All right, we were able to get another 10 minutes of action out of this because of Mandy's inspiring question. Thank you, Mandy. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. I will see you all on the later events. And if I could do anything for anyone, please feel free to hit me up. In the meantime, just have an awesome day and an awesome week.